Baseball is back, and the Cubs lose 2 out of 3 opening weekend against the Brewers. We break it all down right now.
Locked On Cubs, your daily Chicago Cubs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Alongside Sam Olber, I'm Matt Cozy, and you're tuned in to Locked On Cubs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Please support the show and be a part of the Locked On Cubs community by following on all audio platforms, and you can watch, subscribe, and leave a comment on YouTube. Thanks so much for making us your first listen. Sam and I are lifelong fans, taking our passion into discussion with you on all things Cubs. Today's Monday episode is brought to you by Ultimate Baseball GM. Ever dreamed of becoming an MLB GM and managing your baseball franchise? And this game is definitely for you. To download Ultimate Baseball GM, just visit their website or look it up in the Apple and Google Play stores. Our listeners get a 100% free boost to their franchise when using the promo code Locked On. That's Locked On in all caps in the game for Ultimate Baseball GM. Baseball is back. Still getting used to it on my end. It's very exciting. Another new experience for us on this show. We took over the show last July mid-season, so now we're beginning a new season together, and we're going to break down the first 3 games and then inch forward and preview what's coming up this week. So first full week of baseball, 2023 season episodes. Cubs win on opening day. Cubs get edged on Saturday. Cubs lose by a lot on Sunday, Sam, and drop 2 out of 3 in the series to the Brewers. We're going to break down why they lost this series right now.
Yeah, very frustrated, very disappointed. I think that's fair to say. I think for us as hosts of the show, it'd be irresponsible and hypocritical if we came out here after all off season talking about how important April is to come out and say, hey, it's all good, right? You're 1-2, it's all good. You know, the first 28, how many times have we talked about it? 14, 15 and 13. We got to hit it there. And I had the Cubs at that par, that baseball golf par. I skipped over this series because it was a tricky one for me, and I just combined it with the Reds, and I had them at 3-3 through 6 at par.
Oh, that's right.
And so if they can get there, they're still all right. And by no means, Matt, am I jumping off the bandwagon. By no means do I think through 3 games it's fair to call for anybody's job or any demotions or things like that. But there are some disappointing things that I'd like to point out, and some good. But the one thing I'd like to start the show by doing, if you don't mind, I do have one thing that I think it's responsible for me as a co-host of this show to retract my statement. And my dad actually about 10 minutes earlier called me out on it, rightfully so. And that is, and to be fair to myself, I kind of did do this right before the season started. The bullpen is not only not the best part of this team, it's not going to be a strength early on because and I'll let you talk about why, but it seems like they have no idea. They have not identified any roles coming out of spring training. And really, you know, the Assad thing we discussed on Saturday, you know, we could talk about that. But today with Merriweather, like, there's 2 schools of looking at it, right? One school is, hey, why was he out there instead of Alzolay? And that's a fair statement and a fair question, I should say. But to me, a 3-2 game that you're trailing in the 6th inning is not a high leverage situation. And if you have a reliever that can't go out there and get the job done, then he shouldn't be on the team. Now, that's one bad outing for Merriweather. I'm not advocating that he should not be on the team. But my point is, and there's no bigger critic of Ross than me, I don't think jumping on Ross for that's really fair. Who knows if he was looking to go to Alzolay later. 3-2, that would you agree that's a mid-level leverage spot? If
that's
that.
True.
If
that's true.
It's not high leverage.
Right.
And he didn't get the job done. And the hardest part of this early part of this season, I'm sure if Ross were on the show, he'd agree, is this fan base needs a good start. this team probably doesn't need a good start as much as we think it does, because I think internally they feel good about what they have, but the fan base needs it because since 2016 and 17, everything's kind of just gone wrong. And we want this good start, Matt, but at the same time, you have to fight and do this trial and error work to figure out who's comfortable in what spots. And like my dad was saying, it's just going to cost you some games. And I don't know if Merriweather actually cost them today, because who knows if they score those runs, if it's not a 9-2 game. Who knows how Council managed it. I really don't put much stock in junk time. If you listen to this show, I really care about situations and leverage. Hitting a home run down 9-2 really does nothing for me. Nothing.
Right. Well, I don't think it should.
But yeah, that I would say to start off the show, my point that I just tried to make is I'm still here. We need a rebound. We're still here, but the bullpen situation, like just as a fan, if they're up 3-2 tomorrow, headed into the 7th inning, I'm going to be really nervous, and that's not a great sign early on. But I think a lot of teams around the league, like Baltimore, I saw a lot of teams blow leads early because you're just trying to figure out what you have.
So the first thing with the bullpen that I would do, because I do it now as a coach, and I'm not trying to diminish, what Ross and his crew are doing, but it's the roles. The roles are they necessarily decided by April 2nd? No, I don't know if there's much of a path to that, especially with a team that's evolving pretty much every day and has so many new guys.
Mm-hmm.
But you need to at least have it on a sheet in front of you, from highest leverage to lowest.
Right.
And so there's that bucket, and then there's the bucket based on game situations.
Right.
And I can't believe
maybe they have that.
Even trailing by 1 in the 5th, much less the 6th, that Leiter and Merriweather would be ahead of Adbert.
Right.
I just don't see a path to that. I am struggling to accept that.
Yeah.
Because he hadn't debuted yet. It'd be one thing if he pitched Thursday.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Obviously, Saturday, they'd be back-to-back days. No one's doing that yet. But maybe if you pitched Thursday, there'd be some questions, but you would have had 2 days off in between.
No, I think that's fair.
So there's several things that I'm trying to reflect on, because I'm still here too.
Yeah.
And I think ultimately my view is mostly one of optimistic or glass half full, if you will.
Yeah.
And there's no grand conclusions after 3 games. It's just not. There's too many ball games, right?
No.
But I'm seeing a lot of lesions, whatever you want to call it.
It's a good word. It's a good
is
word.
giving me a lot of pause.
Yeah.
And I would go as far as a host to call out a few individuals where it's like, hey, are these major league players?
Yeah. Because
after 3 games, I get it, not a good sample, but they've had a little bit of a track record before. We're just like, hey, that might be a 4A guy. That might be a 3A guy, much less being on an opening day freaking roster, man.
Sure.
Okay? So I got 3 different things here.
Yeah.
Lack of offense. They score 1 run on Saturday. Would love for you to check out our live from Saturday. Brandon Woodruff was really good.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think today's offense frustrated me more than yesterday. Go ahead.
100%.
Yeah.
It happened before the first pitch.
Right.
The starting lineup on Sunday was simply a bad lineup. It was bad.
Right.
And maybe that's the reality of what this Cubs team is right now, especially without Suzuki.
Yeah.
And then the game starts.
Right.
And to have that meager of an offense against Eric Lauer was both surprising and disappointing.
Yeah. Who's not a bad pitcher, but he wasn't good yesterday.
He wasn't.
No.
And then people have forgotten to throw strikes.
Right. Too many walks.
Tyone gets hit around, 7 hits in 4 innings, way too many.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
Okay, what's next? We'll see you in the Ranger series.
Yeah.
But then the bullpen gets torched for 6 runs on 6 hits and 5 walks.
Too many walks.
They got killed.
Yeah.
So what happens next? We're going to preview the Red Series later in the show. But I have questions about a few guys who are on this club. I have 4 guys who are potentially on this club that are not big league ball players.
Yeah.
And then I'm wondering why Alzolay didn't pitch until, 3:30 on Sunday.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why did it take so long? So
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure this out. Was really impressed by Stroman and Steele Thursday and Saturday.
Lighter's thrown well.
Leiter has thrown fine. I think Thompson and Boxberger threw fine.
And Fulmer, I think. Right.
Fulmer, yeah. And then we'll get to some hot and cold offensively in the next segment. But there's just different things where it's just it's causing me to hit the pause button.
Let me comment on a couple things you said.
Please.
First of all, I hear you listen, Alzolay was my pick. I think Alzolay has the best stuff in this bullpen. I think I've said this now 3 times.
You've said it. Yeah, you've said it multiple times.
And we'll never get this answer because nobody asks these types of questions. But I would be fine if Ross said, "Hey, I was going to give Alzolay the 7th."
Okay.
If he said, "Hey, Alzolay was going 7 or 8, no matter what, we were just trying to buy an inning there," I'm okay with that because I think Merriweather has to do it. To me,
he was awful.
That's more player than it is manager for me. And to be fair to him, it was mostly walks. A lot of those hits were really punch and Judy hits. But it's just still unacceptable. And then just to clarify, when you say bad lineup, you mean bad lineup like it's just bad players, not exactly construction, correct?
Yeah, right.
Right. I agree. It's a lineup that all 3 games has not looked good. I think Suzuki will do a lot for it. I think he'll do a lot for it. These guys, look, offensively all year, guys, it is a team, and it's funny that you mentioned that there's some 4A or 3A guys because the selling point of the team is their floor, and they're really just supposed to be filled with, decent to above average big leaguers. And, the Mancinis and Bellingers and Madrigals, these guys, Hosmers, some of these guys are going to have to really hit above their belt. And look, Wisdom was great. We'll get to the hot stuff, so I don't want to sell it. I'm going to let it be for a little bit. I think like, and shout out Paul McCartney. It's, I just am going to let it be a bit offensively because it's 3 baseball games.
Wow.
And, they've scored what they scored.
Good for you.
They scored 10 runs in the 3 games. So it's not like they've been, it's one of those old stretches where they got shut out. And yesterday, I just don't know on Saturday, I just really don't know how you're going to score that much. I mean, he was just tremendous. And who knows, maybe they would have scored regardless today. My frustration with the lineup was today is I thought they let Lauer off the hook. And honestly, I think
they did leave him off the hook.
And it happened really in the first inning. You start the game off, line drive hit from Horner, beautiful steal of second base, Swanson base hit, man on first, no outs. You go back-to-back full counts, Happ and Mancini, strikeout by Happ, and then a strikeout, throw him out to Mancini where that pitch was out of the zone. Sometimes with the pitcher, and I'm sure the Brewers could have said the same thing on Saturday with Steele, who was really rocky in the first inning. When these guys struggle early, you got to jump on them and put up a crooked number. So, and the last thing I'll say before we move on is what really frustrated me was not only that we lost, but the way we lost. We got beat at our own game. The Brewers are built on slugging. They didn't slug. We out-homered them 3-0 in this series, albeit all solo shots. They singled us to death. They had speed to us to death.
Flew by us.
And then we walked them a lot, which was on us. But they just looked like the team that was built to play in close games, which they are, and they just beat us at our own game. And so that was it was a disappointing weekend. There's nothing else to say. It was a disappointing weekend. I am not at that point yet where I'm saying, hey, this guy's got to go. This was misidentified. Let's see what happens. We'll talk about it later on, but you have a much better matchup this week and see if some guys can get going.
1-2 on the season. Much better matchup this week. We'll also revisit our baseball golf later in the show as well. Coming up next, who's hot and cold at the plate so far through the first series? Stay tuned. Today's episode is brought to you by Ultimate Baseball GM. I've always thought I could be a great Major League GM with my roster projections, with my sketched out lineups, and I could try that finally with Ultimate Baseball GM, the game that you could find at Apple and Google Play stores. It allows you to manage every strategic aspect of a team, playing through seasons and leading your team and fans to glory as you build an historic dynasty. This is all in a challenging and realistic game world. It's completely free. It's playable offline. It's playable on the go. So you can play it when you want and as you want to. Right now, all the Locked On hosts in the MLB channel, all 30 plus of us, are playing against each other for bragging rights as we're getting used to this game as well. So we would love for you to jump in on the action. Locked On Cubs listeners get a 100% free boost to their franchise when using the promo Locked On in the game store. So make sure to check it out. To download the game, just visit probaseballgm.com, scan the code, or look it up in the Apple and Google Play stores. probaseballgm.com to start your dynasty today with Ultimate Baseball GM. Welcome back to Locked On Cubs. Thanks for joining us here on a Monday as we're 3 games into the 2023 campaign. And tell somebody about the show as we continue to cover the Northsiders each and every weekday here, and sometimes on the weekends with some bonus lives that we have planned for you. All right, so hot and cold. First time we're going to do this of the regular season because it has been only 3 games. The qualifiers here are that we're just doing offense only. Right. Just giving a shout out to Stroman and Steele again, each pitching 6 shutout. But we're just sticking to the plate right now, offensive side of the ball, and you've had to play it in 2 of the 3 games. Okay. So Swanson, Sam Dansby Swanson is comically 7 for 12. Yep. At this point in the year, if you look on the MLB app, you scan the box scores, a lot of guys, their average starts with a 5, right, maybe even a 6. Swanson, 7 of 12, and he's hitting the ball hard. Even some of his outs.
Has he even struck out yet?
I think he struck out once. Yeah, just one time. Yeah. Happ is 3 for 8 with 4 walks. Okay, he's off to a nice start. And we'll keep tabs on him with runners in scoring position throughout the year as well. Yeah, because we want to be thoughtful and fair on this program.
Happ looks good. It's very Ian Happy. Like he's grinding out at bats. He's right. He is who he is. I've always wanted something more, but he is who he is. He's a good player.
And then finally, we only have 3 hot and we have 3 cold. Wisdom, 2 for 7. Both of his hits are home runs.
Yeah, nice to see
supplies power.
Nice to see somebody follow up a really good spring and deliver. Tyone had as good of a spring as anybody. He was not good today. And just real quick on Tyone, because he'll be fine. Bad start. He'll be fine. Stuff was fine. Command was brutal.
Yeah. You know what else though on Wisdom we should add? He played right field well on Sunday.
Outstanding.
Yeah.
Tweeted it out. He made 2 really nice plays in right field, which was really nice to see. And
really nice plays.
Yeah, no, he'll, and people are like, well, now Wisdom has to play every day. Relax. Okay. This was, Lauer was a good matchup. He hit a homer off Lauer. He did a nice job. I still think, Rios has gotten 1 start. His 1 start was against Brandon Woodruff where he went 0 for 2 with a walk. Let's not throw out specific guys. But yeah, nice job from Wisdom today.
But you know what though? He probably should play every day. Whether it's right, DH, or third.
I don't want to see Patrick Wisdom against a guy like Hunter Green. I just don't.
Okay.
It's just he's going to strike out.
Right.
If you have better options, which, I guess is up for debate. But yeah, this is a guy who's almost 30 years old. You know what I mean? We know what he is.
That's true. No, he's actually over 30 already.
Yeah, but good start for Wisdom. His job is to hit the ball out of the ballpark. He did that twice today. Be nice if we can get a couple guys on and do it.
Miles Mastroboni is 0 for 5 with
rough start.
4 Ks.
Really rough start for him.
And potentially a 4A player there. Yeah. And there's 2 more names, Sam.
Yeah, well, I think I can guess them.
Eric Hosmer is 0 for 7.
Yeah.
And Cody Bellinger's 0 for 11.
And you just mentioned 3 lefties, all lefties. Yeah, out of those 3, I think Bellinger looks the best.
Okay.
I think he had a rough offensive series, no doubt about it. I thought defensively he looks really good out there, better than advertised so far, which is really what he's there to do. But yeah, I think the double play on Saturday was brutal, and then he had a similar one today. But he's not. I don't think he's far away. I don't think he had 1 at bat where he looked overmatched against Woodruff. But I don't think he's far away. He hit the ball hard today, left on left against Lauer. I don't think he's far. I don't think he's far away. I think he's a
Okay,
guy that
good.
I could see having a good week in Cincinnati this week. I don't think he's far away.
Well, let's find out who's going to take the bump for the Red Legs and how the Cubs and Reds match up Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday series. And we do that coming up next. Today's episode is also brought to you by Built Bar, the snack that powers us on the show at Locked On Cubs. Built Bar has been a great partner with us since this past summer. My favorite flavor, cookies and cream. You could get Built Bar, many combinations, many flavors, and they're good for you. So if you're looking for something to help you throughout your day, whether that's school, work, a workout, whatever it is, you got to try Built Bar. And you can go to built.com to do that, order yourself a box, or run into your nearby Walmart and Sam's Club to pick up a 4-bar box and an assortment of flavors in person as well to try a Built Bar today. Welcome back to Locked On Cubs. Thanks for making us your first listen. Cubs now move on to Cincinnati. First road trip of the season. 3 games with the Reds over there. First pitch times, I have those, plus the probable pitching matchups. Central Standard Time, that's going to be 5:40, 5:40, and 11:35 a.m. Smiley versus Overton, Wisniewski versus Sessa, and Stroman versus Green. These are favorable matchups for the most part. And if we use the baseball golf, you have to win 2 out of 3 and return to Wrigley on a Friday at 3-3 overall.
Yep, no question about it. I would even go as far as to say this early in the season, because of where the Cubs what happens after this. The Rangers are off to a good start. Seattle has playoff aspirations. Then you go to the Dodgers. You get a break in Oakland, and then you come back Dodgers Padres for 7.
Oof.
I mean, the schedule here, you hit it's kind of similar to last April, right? Well, last April they started out 6-4. And then they kind of they had that series at home against Pittsburgh where they lost 3 of 4.
Oh,
and then the gauntlet. And by the way, they won one of those games 21-0.
right.
It doesn't matter, right?
No.
You want to make sure that you survive that gauntlet and go into that gauntlet in a little bit in a good spot. So I would almost go as to say there needs to be a sense of urgency in this series.
Especially Monday.
Yeah, and Smiley's the guy I have the most concerns going into the season. So
Yeah.
we'll see how he does. It's a very good opportunity for a Bellinger, for a Rios, for a Hosmer to get going, because the first 2 games, Overton and Sessa, you are going to face 2 journeyman right-handers,
Right.
that are not power pitchers.
Never even heard of the guys.
Yeah, that are not going to overpower you. And in a very hitter-friendly ballpark. And I believe last time I checked the forecast, I don't think it's supposed to be terrible there this week.
Wednesday is really the only threat of rain now.
Yeah, so, it should be a good – this is where you got to put up runs and do so with the home run ball a little bit and get some guys going. Like I said, I think the lefties come out of it. I think you see Bellinger. I think you see Rio. I mean, I keep putting Rios. Rios hasn't done anything wrong. He was 0-for-2 with a walk. But I think you see him in the lineup. And I think you see Hosmer get going a little bit. And like I said, Bellinger homer, and Ian Happ always homers in Cincy. So I think it's a good matchup. And
he went to Cincinnati for college.
Yeah, we know. I think it's a good matchup, and it's a series we got to get, guys. It's a series we got to get.
Have to.
You're not starting out 2-4,
and you have to win Monday. Can I say that?
Yeah, you could say that.
I know that's a lot for me. That we have different roles here on the show.
No,
and you've gotten to know us, but the Cubs need to win on Monday.
Yeah, and
I know it's game 4. I don't give a bleep. You got to win this game.
And Hunter Green on
Wednesday. The hell is Overton, bro?
No, and Hunter Green on Wednesday is one of those guys where he could dominate you, but he's probably not going to go more than 5-6.
He's got a short leash.
Yeah, because he's just
he only
he's not
went
official
4 on Thursday.
Yeah, right. So my point is you should have a game plan, right? And the big thing about that Wednesday game is these games are going to be low leverage. Nobody goes to the games in Cincinnati, especially on Wednesday afternoon.
Right.
Don't let that affect you. Stay locked in. find a way to win one of these first two, if not both of them, and then Wednesday come in with a plan and be all over green and see if we can't come back on Friday feeling better about ourselves. So, hey, listen, all you got to do, you win this series, things feel a little bit better. You take care, you really win this series and get to 4-2, you feel good. So, a lot of work to do. Disappointing weekend. There's no doubt about it. I almost feel like that has to be somewhat of the title at this point. Something about Saturday and Sunday.
I was actually thinking about that.
Yeah, it's just disappointing. That's the word to use, and everyone has the right. But let's all stay together. No team in the history of baseball has ever gotten through a year without a little adversity, a little disappointment. This is a confident group of guys and veterans. They understand what's going on, and they need to have the word we'll use tomorrow night. Professional performance this week.
Oh, that's good.
That's what we need to see, a professional performance.
All right, well, the show is now tied to game coverage, and we're going to be with you for all regular episodes this week, Monday through Friday.
And we'll get to some AAA stuff, too.
But after the conclusion of Tuesday's game, we're going to record for Wednesday live on YouTube.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you haven't joined us over there yet, please give us a shot on Tuesday night. That's going to be after Hayden Wisniewski throws 6 shutouts.
And if they're 1-4 after that game,
oh no!
Forgive me if I'm on heavy medication for that episode.
Right, that could be interesting, especially live.
Heavy.
Okay. Well, I hope they're 3-2 after that contest.
Yeah.
All right, so stay with us here on the program all week and all season.
I need to get a life.
Tell your friends. Be sure to hit that subscribe button for Locked On Cubs.
Rescue me.
And smash the like button on all your favorite Locked On Cubs content, Apple,
Win
Spotify,
one game.
wherever you get your podcast on the audio side. And you can always drop us a text, 312-834-4634. Thanks for making Locked On Cubs your first listen every day. Now make your second Locked On Fantasy Baseball. Listen to Matt and Dom as they bring you the best fantasy strategies all season over at Locked On Fantasy Baseball. He's Sam Olber. I'm Matt Cozy. This is Locked On Cubs.